All right, shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
All right, give us 1 second. Check the feed. Check the feed. All right, we good. Can you get a salute, bro?
Khan. Hey, shalom. Shalom lakam, which is peace unto you all. Anachna wa ha'ay bar yasha'aleh, with the Hebrew Israelites coming to you week in and week out through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, to preach to so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indian Haitians, and Israelite foreigners. Nachamatam kaya, hamalakwatha shamayim kwara, repent ye, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. First and foremost, before we get started, we give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, while double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that taught us the truth and rule well, and much respect to you bros out there pushing the truth with all righteousness and sincerity. Shalom.
Shalom. All right. So it's the brothers from Great Millstone, Charlotte. Pretty much, we wanted to do a lesson, as you see the title, Learn How to Be a Master Builder. All right. And this lesson was inspired by a statement that was made by the elder apostle Ramlab, a couple weeks ago, when he wanted to play this clip and then feed off of that. So play this real quick.
Gonna come with time out.
Yeah, you got to learn how to be a master builder. Mm-hmm. You can't be a master builder if you're still just a laborer in the field.
Right.
The master builder started as a laborer, but he learned the different skills to be able to become that master builder.
Right.
He can give directions to everybody about their job. And if they have a question about any part of the job, he'll be able to answer any question that they have to help them do their job better.
Yep. And why? Why did he become a master builder? Because he probably had a crude teacher, right? A didactic teacher, somebody that was there with discipline, man.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
So
all right, and wise words from the elder, because like he was saying, okay, and we all started out as laborers, but the whole point of what this truth is meant to do is to build you into being a master builder, because when you understand the dynamics of what the house of David represents in the kingdom of heaven, is that all the 144,000 are going to be those building blocks to the government, all right, of the kingdom of heaven, man. Like brothers are going to be establishing order in the new world. Brothers are going to be given different divisions of whatever lot that the Lord has for them to bring order and restoration back onto the planet Earth, man. You got anything out?
Khan, you want me to start with that?
Yep, go ahead.
Khan.
So listen, if you better point or something, you can bring it out too, though.
Khan, this is the term for master builder, which ultimately, Yahweh Shai Hamashayach would be the ultimate master builder. The scriptures, entail and illustrate that he is the chief cornerstone, essentially going to that foundation. But I got this AI overview. It says, historically, a master builder was the central figure leading construction projects, which would be Yahweh Shai. He's the trailblazer. It says, encompassing design, material knowledge, and supervision, essentially a precursor to modern architects and engineers. I'm gonna skip down to land back on the apostles' point. But it says skills and responsibilities. It says they possessed in-depth knowledge or construction materials, crafted designs, directed the work, and often participated in the manual labor. Because ultimately, in order to understand that specific, in order to understand how to build, essentially we have to be laborers, as Hazaquan was going into.
And that's what essentially why the Lord called us into this faith, man. All right, because we are building up the Lord's house as we speak. And that third temple, it's not an actual physical temple, but it's it's a spiritual temple where every brother, that's out here doing the work. All right, you are laborers that should be turning themselves into master builders, man. Because according to 1 John 2:20, it tells us that the Lord gave us an unction to know all things, man. All right, and not saying that we know every single thing according to what what the knowledge out there. We know all things according to salvation. All right, and the order that we are setting in the earth, that standard is going to be even even further enforced when we actually get the power back in our hands to bring these things into fruition, man. You know, we can go ahead and hop into that Luke.
Khan, you just want verse 2, or you want me to read now?
You can read from the top. That's cool.
Khan, this is Luke chapter 10 and verse 1. It says, after these things, the Lord appointed other 70 also, and sent them 2 and 2 before his face into every city and place, whither he himself would come.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore said he unto them, the harvest truly is great, but the laborers are few.
Right, and this is why you see camps springing up all throughout the four corners of the earth, man. All right, there's brothers in all places in the world, pretty much at this point, because the Lord, is building up His house. All right, hey, brothers, prophesying in all four corners of the earth, which lets us know that, like it says in the prophecy in the Matthew the 24th chapter, that this word will go through the four corners of the earth, and then the end shall come. All right, and through brothers, waking up and teaching this word and by the correct doctrine everywhere throughout the world. This is why you see, more and more Israelites waking up. Okay, because a lot of you listeners more than likely make up of the 1/3, which is that innumerable multitude, but it's being spearheaded by the 144,000 prophets. Because brothers have been given different talents and lots to pretty much go in to the many facets of what this truth it contains, man. Certain brothers is gifted with the Hebrew. And matter of fact, could you get that precept too with the talents?
Mm-hmm. You want me to finish this out, or you want me to go straight to it?
Is it more on that?
Khan, it's a little bit more.
All right, go ahead.
Khan, it says, but the laborers are few. It says, pray ye therefore the Lord of the harvest, that he will send forth laborers into his harvest.
Yeah, and those laborers are the brothers that you see continuing to push these works out, man, because we have a duty to feed the Lord's sheep. All right, which is why the orders come down from Apostle Har on through the Spirit. All right, for brothers to continue to push these videos out. We're commanded to flood the YouTube. All right, because we understand that hey, we don't have too much longer to do this work. And this truth is time sensitive, man. All right. And we are fastly approaching the famine of the word. So we're supposed to be continually pushing out these lessons so that there's no stone left uncovered, so that the elect can be truly fed and nourished in the spirit, man.
Kind of, this is 1 Corinthians chapter 12, and I started verse 1. You say what? You say, bro?
You got it. I think it's a little lag on my end.
Okay. 1 Corinthians 12 and verse 1. I'm read the subtitle. It says,
I think it's a lag on my end. Hold on.
Okay.
I'm gonna come back out and come back in, but you go ahead and just read and break it down.
Okay. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 1. It says, now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I would not have you ignorant. Ye know that ye were Gentiles carried away unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led. Wherefore I give you to understand that no man speaking by the Spirit of the Most High calleth Yahweh Shai a curse, that no man can say that Yahweh Shai is the Lord, but by the Holy Spirit. It says, now there are diversities of gifts, but the same Spirit, because ultimately, like the brother was going into, essentially, some brothers are very versed, in the Hebrew, some brothers are good, with the herbs, physicians, all right, and so on and so forth. You see, because ultimately, when we look at the second temple, every piece of that temple wasn't, the same thing. Each portion had its own duty, so being that this is a spiritual temple, essentially, with the elect making up that temple, all right, essentially everybody would have a different duty, a different job. Everybody can't be the like the pillar. Everybody can't be the stone that's all the way to the far left or to the far right. Everybody has their specific job and their specific duty, to all comprise into that this third temple, the spiritual temple, But I'm gonna keep going. It says, verse 5, it says, and there are differences of administrations, but the same Lord. And there are diversities of operations, but in the same power which worketh all in all. It says, but the manifestation of the Spirit is given to every man to profit withal, because ultimately, all the operations and the administrations and jobs that each member of the elect has is to benefit the body, And it says, for to one is given the Spirit, for to one is given by the Spirit the word of wisdom, to another the word of knowledge by the same Spirit, to another faith by the same Spirit, to another the gifts of healing by the same Spirit, to another the working of miracles, to another prophecy, to another discerning of spirits, to another diverse kinds of tongues, to another the interpretation of tongues. But all these worketh that one, and the self same Spirit, dividing to every man severally as he will. All right, verse 12. It says, I'm going to go down to verse 14. It says, for as the body is one, and hath many members, and all members of that one body, being many, are one body, so also is Hamashayach. For by one Spirit are we all baptized into one body, whether we be Jews or Gentiles, because pretty much, the Jews was the circumcision, all right, the Gentiles is the Israelite foreigners. It says, whether we be bond or free, and have been all made to drink into one Spirit. For the body is not one member, but many. All right, and ultimately, I'm gonna keep going. It says, if the foot shall say, because I am not the hand, I am not of the body, it is therefore not of the body. And if the ear shall say, because I am not the eye, I am not of the body, it is therefore not of the body. And ultimately, looking at it on a I guess a physical perspective, like your eyes are very important. That's what keeps the balance for the body. Your ears are very important. That's what keeps the balance for the body. Just like with your thumb, or just like with your, like a nail. If you don't have a nail, you'll get an infection and you can die from an infection. So each part of the body is very important. All right, and much more so for the third temple. The Lord's house. And each member of the elect ultimately is has their use, and it's for the benefit of the body.
Kai, I got something for you right here. This
Mhm.
is the book of Matthew, chapter 25, and I'm gonna start at verse 14. It says, I start at 13 actually. It says, watch therefore, for ye know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh. And this is why at the end of the day, we've been commissioned to do this work. All right, so we must continue to work. All right, so like the scripture say, when the Lord comes back, he shall find his servants doing. So he's gonna come back and see that his elect, all right, was doing the work. They believe, all right, they was keeping the Lord's commandments to the best of their ability. Okay, it says, for the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country, who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods. And unto one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, to every man according to his several ability, and straightway took his journey. Because just like you was going into with the different talents, the brothers got blessed with different abilities, Hebrew, history, the breakdowns. Brothers go into those spiritual lessons dealing with the faith, and character building lessons and whatnot. But whatever your talent is, okay, you're supposed to maximize that talent. It says, then he that had received 5 talents went and traded with the same, and made them other 5 talents. And likewise he that received 2, he also gained other 2. And he that had received 1 went and digged into the earth and hid his Lord's money. Now, dealing with this with these talents, the reward that you get for doing these talents, as we're going to go into in a little bit, all right, is all pretty much going to pay off for you in the kingdom. Okay.
Mhm.
Because you have that right now, to where brothers is getting fruit. All right, But essentially, that's going to, the back end of it is going to be, provinces and all those different things. But before we get there, I want to get this in the commentary because this shows you, this goes into the building of the Lord's house. So let me grab this real quick in the David Guzik commentary. Let me find the part. So Slovakia.
All right, quick one if I can.
Go ahead, Doc.
This is 1 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 10. It says, according to the grace of the Most High, which is given unto me as a wise master builder, I have laid the foundation, and another buildeth thereon. Because the scriptures essentially go into, we have entered into other men's labors, essentially, going back to the point that Hazakwan, the elder had brought out, essentially got to be taught. So it says, I have laid the foundation, and another buildeth thereon. But let every man take heed how he buildeth thereupon, because ultimately, we have to be cognizant and mindful of, again, going into how we're building. Let me get this in the NLT. It says, NLT 1 Corinthians 3 and 10, it says, because of the Most High's grace to me, I have laid the foundation like an expert builder. Now others are building on it, but whoever is building on this foundation must be very careful, because ultimately, it goes into, rightly dividing the word of truth,
right?
Teaching Yahweh Shai in the correct fashion,
Yeah. Continuing in the doctrine that you have learned.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna keep going. It says, for other foundation can no man lay, that is laid, which is Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. Now, if any man build upon this foundation, I want to get this word for foundation as well. It says foundation. It says the lowest load-bearing part. And load-bearing, it says supporting much of the weight of the overlying parts of a building or other structure relating to the carrying of a load, So ultimately, what's the scripture say? He had borne, our transgressions, roughly paraphrasing. And then also, I'm gonna read it again. It says the lowest load-bearing part of a building, typically below ground level. And a lot of times, to get that foundation, somebody has to go in there and break the ground. So Yahweh Shai essentially broke the ground so that we could, build up. He's that foundation. But I'm gonna keep going. You got something to add, bro?
Nah, go ahead.
It says typically below ground level. It says underlying basis or principle, and which just goes back to the scriptures. It says.
Matter of fact, Slovakia, yeah, I do got something to add because, like you said, that underlying, principle going into that scripture talk about, breaking up that fallow ground, which is your mind, because the Lord is implanting that foundation in your mind. Okay, because you got to remember that, hey, these bodies are temples, So like you were going into earlier with the, just using the second temple as an example, we are the third temple. All right, so with that being said, that foundation has to be laid, which is starting in your mind, man. So the Lord had to plant the seed for that foundation to continue to get worked upon and eventually fortified.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was pretty much it.
Okay, Khan. So going into the commentary for that Matthew 25, it says it says a man traveling to a far country who called his servants and delivered his goods to them. This was not a strange idea in the ancient world, where servants or slaves were often given great responsibility. This was often the safest and smartest thing a man could do with his money. And you got to remember that this truth is the Lord's money. Okay? It says the best thing he could do with his money in his absence, dividing it among carefully selected slaves and leaving them to do their best with it. This parable takes up the question, which that of the bridegrooms left unanswered, what is readiness? It says, to one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1. A talent was not an ability, though this parable has application to our abilities, but a unit of money worth at least 1,200 in modern day terms, which $1,200 in modern day terms, which is likely more, The talent was not a coin, it was a weight, and therefore its value obviously depended on whether the coinage involved was copper or silver. But the point being how that that talent is that the Lord's money, which is that down payment, which is the spirit of the Lord, man. In whatever form He gave it to you in. It says, in the application of this parable, it is appropriate to see these talents as life resources such as time, money, abilities, and authority. To each according to his own ability, the servants were given different amounts of money according to their ability. One servant only received 1 talent, yet we should see that was not an insignificant amount. Some received more, but everyone received something, and everyone received a large amount. The talent which each man has suits his own best state, and is only pride and insanity which lead him to desire and envy the graces and talents of others. 5 talents would be too much for some men. 1 talent would be too little. All right, but just going into that, how pretty much the Lord gave us the proper measure to make sure that we're providing our part of the building of the Lord's house, man. Okay, you got it.
I'm gonna get that.
Mm-hmm.
Because ultimately, when you build a house, ultimately it has to the house has to continue. And ultimately each brother has their respective lot. To where their talents has to be put to where the house will be able to continue. Because it has to benefit the house. But this is the term. Excuse me, let me get it. The lot.
Mm-hmm.
All right, this is the word for, or the root word for build. It says bond, which is the word for son, because bond goes into the house continues, because the son continues the lineage or the family. But it says definition, it says the tent was constructed of woven goat hair. Over time, the sun bleaches and weakens the goat hair, necessitating their continual replacement. Each year, the women make a new panel, approximately 3 feet wide in the length of the tent. The old panel is removed, being recycled into a wall or floor, and the new strip is added to the tent. Since the tent is only replaced one small piece at a time, the tent essentially lasts forever. It said the pictograph bayat is a picture of the tent. The nan is a picture of a sprouting seed and represents continuity, continuous pretty much. It said it says, as the seed continues, the next generation, the combined meaning of these letters is the continuing of the house. And ultimately, for that house to continue, essentially, different parts would have to be replaced. So that's essentially a similitude for brothers bringing those talents so that the house can ultimately be built up. And I actually want to get that word for built as well, if I can.
You got it.
But it says, I'm gonna get two. Aban is the word for stone, because the scriptures say lively stones, and which it's also related to the word that we just got, which was bond, so the house could continue. But if it's lively stones, that means that they're living and it's ultimately moving. If something is alive, that means that it's moving and it's thriving. But Aban is the word for stone. A goes into strength, and then the bond goes into the house continuing. So our bond of stone will be a strong material for the house to continue. And I'm gonna go down to where it says build, but it says a structure built for occupation. It says the construct of a building, which is the word for bana, which is to build. It says to construct a building or home with wood, stone, or other material, or a family with sons. So essentially, for that house to continue, it has to be a continual process of being worked on. It's not just the house just goes up. The work has to be continue on. Until the end.
Mm-hmm.
Because if not, this will happen right here. This is Kohelet Ecclesiastes chapter 10, and I'm gonna get verse 18. It says, "By much slothfulness the building decayeth, and through idleness of the hands the house droppeth through." So if the house isn't being properly maintained, if it's a stone that ain't doing its job, then the house gonna decay. So rain gonna get in there. It's not gonna function as it's supposed to. So That's in the literal terms, but it should be much more so in the spiritual term, to where we're staying on top of ourselves, pursuant to Proverbs the 24th chapter. Can I get it real fast? So you have something, bro.
You about to get 24/7?
24 and 3.
Go ahead.
Okay. This is Mashal Proverbs 24 and verse 3. It says, through wisdom is an house builded, all right, pursuant to Psalms 119 and verse 9, Bayat, wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his way, because essentially that the part of the third temple, all right, is those the stones which are members of the elect,
Mm-hmm.
So it says, and the members of the elect is ultimately working on themselves. So it says through wisdom, cause it go back to the foundation. All right, it says through wisdom. All right, Yahweh Shai is essentially synonymous with wisdom. Through wisdom is a house builded, and by understanding is it established. And by knowledge shall the chambers be filled with all precious and pleasant riches. It says a wise man is strong, yea, a man of knowledge increaseth strength. So essentially, pursuant to again Psalms 119 and 9, whereas in the world, we were into whatever we was into, but when we come into this truth, we start to those rooms that was in that house. Essentially, we might have been into games, a whole bunch of folly, but in those rooms, you're putting understanding over here, or you're putting knowledge over here. You're putting wisdom in this room. You're putting on that new creature, so that ultimately we can be comprised into that third temple with Yahweh Shai Hamashiach, being that chief cornerstone.
Mm-hmm. I got a precept. Whole Proverbs 9.
Okay.
But this is Proverbs chapter 14 and 1. It says, every wise woman buildeth her house, but the foolish plucketh it down with her hands. Because, hey, one thing that you got to remember is just dealing with the order that the Lord set up for the house to be, ran efficiently. Okay, and the woman, her job is to be, the keeper of the house, and we are the Lord's woman. What's that? Jeremiah 3 and 2, I want to say, or 3 and 6. But we're the Lord's woman, so our duty, all right, is to make sure that we're building up the Lord's house correctly. Okay, because like you mentioned, those different rooms that we're applying wisdom to, and the wisdom is likened to pillars. If you can grab that real quick.
Okay. This is Proverbs chapter 9 and verse 1. It says, wisdom hath builded her house, she hath hewn out her 7 pillars.
Yeah, 7, in completion, because we're pretty much doing like a complete, remodel of ourselves. Because like you said, the house for the elect is literally, us, working on ourselves and remaking ourselves into that new creature that Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, is building. So like you said, we're putting off the old man and putting on the new man. All right, and doing so, the wisdom is pretty much helping us expand our house, man.
Kind of, cause pretty much like we renovating it, and also we flipping the house. The house got what do you call it? It's appreciating. It's not depreciating. It's essentially the stock value is going up.
Yeah, because dealing with the temple, here it is. You got them Amalekites over there in the land of Israel right now. Trying to build up, a quote unquote third temple, not realizing that the Lord ain't dealing with physical buildings no more, man. Okay, we done that through the first and second temple. So now this third temple, as I keep mentioning, all right, like it says in First Timothy, I want to say where it says we are the temple of the Most High. It's a spiritual temple. So the instructions are being given for us to be able to know how to rightly build, man. It says that in Second Ezra, the 14th chapter. Could you get that real quick? 14 and start at 13.
You said Second Ezra.
Yeah, Second Ezra 14 and 13.
Okay. This is Second Ezra chapter 14 and verse 13. It says, now therefore set thine house in order.
Thy house, all right, dealing with yourself, okay, because you gotta also remember, all right, the temple, all right, you can liken it because like I had this meme I had found off this health site. It says your 3 homes. It says your body, earth, and your mind. Take proper care of them. Okay, So, hey, your house, it begins in your mind, which then translates into your body, and then eventually translates to your outer world, man. All right, so you're building your castle from the inside out, man. You know that's why it talks about in Wisdom of Solomon, the 6th chapter, okay, about how wisdom, helps bring forth to a kingdom, you know. Yes, the brother by now put that what I quoted earlier, 1 Corinthians 3:16. Know ye not that ye are the temple of the Most High, and that the Spirit of the Most High dwelleth in you. You know, so we have to fortify ourselves, through this wisdom, which is why you heard Apostle Ramlab go into, all right, learning how to be a master builder. Because when you first come into the truth, you being a novice, you're not really understanding, the ins and outs of what wisdom can really do for you, which is why, you go through that, bumping your head stage, getting rebuked for little stupid shit you was doing. But as you, matriculate in the spirit over a sense of time, hey, the experience should be able to help you understand and apply the wisdom better, man. Which is why, as you said, you're supposed to be putting your house in order, man, especially in the time that we're in now. You got it.
Okay, continuing on, 2 Esdras 14:13, it says, and reprove thy people, comfort such of them as be in trouble, and now renounce corruption.
Right, reprove thy people. So, hey, we're telling other Israelites on how to put their house in order, man. Getting right with the Heavenly Father, through His Son. All right, applying these scriptures in the way that they're supposed to be applied. All right, so like we was going into earlier, correctly building the house, man. And you got a lot of Jake that's building incorrectly, man. All right, going off on doctrine, trying to do things their own way. Hey, when you got a job, especially dealing with like construction or whatnot, you see, all right, it's a car, different people that be working them construction jobs. Hey, you have a blueprint that you're supposed to abide by, all right, and you have to go directly off the plan, just like when you saw the Lord gave the commandments to Moses and to King Solomon to build the temples. They were given the blueprint. The Lord said, do this specifically. All right, cut this, this stone by this amount centimeters, this width. He's very specific on how he wanted the temple to be built, and this is the same thing that we have to do amongst this truth, man. Okay, real quick, this is Proverbs chapter 24 and 27. Prepare thy work without, and make it fit for thyself in the field, and afterward build thine house. All right, so you gotta know, number one, coming into this thing, how to build. Okay, you gotta know what you're doing. A lot of Jake just come in here, just jump right into the work and don't even realize the long-term effects of how long this might take to do, because this building is a never-ending process, like you mentioned earlier. It's continual work, man. As you see, even with the elders and the apostles, they're still learning, and they'll admit that. And when brother bring out some information that they didn't know, they'll tell you, they just learned something new, So that's the same mentality we supposed to have. But you got Jake that come in here and think that they for a certain period of time they're in the truth and then they know everything. Nah, man, that's the wrong mentality to have, man. Okay, so you got to know how to build for yourself, and so using the talent the Lord gave you, you utilize that to the best of your ability to help you flourish in this truth, man. Because we'll go back to that parable in Matthew's, but you have something?
Khan, you had mentioned the point, the spiritual temple. I want to get this for you.
You got it.
This is Ephesians chapter 2, and I'm gonna get verse 19. It says, "Now therefore ye are no more strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens with the saints, and of the household of the Most High, and are built upon the foundation of the apostles and prophets, Yahawashi Hamashiach himself being the chief cornerstone, in whom all the building fitly framed together groweth unto an holy temple in the Lord, in whom ye also are builded together for an habitation of the Most High through the Spirit." Could pretty much, starting from the top, going back to verse 20, it says, built upon the foundation of the apostles and prophets, Yahawashi Hamashiach, because essentially, we have entered, into other man's labors, essentially, again, going back to the point of, we had to be taught, this word. And it says, in whom all the building fitly framed together. And it says together. That means as one, essentially being erected as one, because if the house was divided, the scriptures go into, if a house is divided, it can't stand, because going back to Ecclesiastes 10 and 18, it would start to decay, rain start getting all up in there, bugs, termites, you got the ants, it wouldn't be habitable.
Mm-hmm.
So it says, in whom all the building fitly framed together groweth unto a holy temple in the Lord, in whom ye also are builded together for an habitation of the Most High through the Spirit. Now I want to get this point real fast, because essentially, you got guys that talk about, the third temple. It's a spiritual temple, but they like to bring out. They try to say that it's a physical temple. But I'm gonna get this though. This is Hosea chapter 12 and verse 10. It says, I have also spoken by the prophets, and I have multiplied visions and used similitudes by the ministry of the prophets. So ultimately, when we look at the first temple, when we look at the second temple, it was a similitude. This third temple is spiritual. Same as, when the scriptures say that, Noah was baptized back when he had the ark, that was a picture of the baptism that Yahweh Shai was coming to do, so the Lord speaks in similitudes, so with this third temple is spiritual,
Okay. I got a precept for you real quick.
Mhm.
Luke 17 and 21. Neither shall they say, lo here or lo there, for behold, the kingdom of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua is within you.
Mm-hmm. The kingdom is in the elect. Essentially going back to that precept that we pulled up, I believe was in 1 Corinthians, the 3rd chapter and the 16th verse.
Mm-hmm.
Because essentially, again, going back to those, it says, know ye not that ye are the temple of the Most High, and that the Spirit of the Most High dwelleth in you. Because essentially, going back to Hosea chapter 12 and verse 10, all right, the first and the second temple, those were similitudes for what the Lord is doing presently. All right, and it's starting by way of this truth, you see, because essentially, by subscribing to Yahweh Shai, essentially the elect is being built up, and ultimately operating as one of those stones, all right, in the temple of the Lord.
Yeah, because dealing with that similitude, because the kingdom of heaven was, it's like the two temples was pretty much, symbolic of how the temple is in the heavens, man. All right, in the spiritual world. So those instructions that were given is pretty much the instructions that we're given through the precepts. All right, using the wisdom of the how we're gonna have the kingdom, in the future. Because this wisdom is from on high. All right, and so literally when you see the 144,000, those are all examples of the kingdom of heaven on earth, man. And so like I said, when we are representations of that until we get the power to actually enforce that and bring it into the earth, in its full fruition, man. So if I can go back to this Matthew 25 real quick. So
I get it.
Huh?
I get it.
Yeah, we'll start back at 14 and we'll just read the whole parable.
This is Matthew Mathathia chapter 25 and verse 14. It says, for the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country, who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods.
Yeah, we know that man traveling to a far country being, Yahweh Shah, and his servants being the elect. All right, delivered unto them his goods being, the talents, man. The spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua.
And unto one he gave 5 talents,
Mm-hmm.
to another 2, and to another 1, to every man according to his several ability, and straightway took his journey.
Yep, go ahead.
Then he that had received the 5 talents went and traded with the same, and made them 5 other talents. And made them other 5 talents.
Mm-hmm.
And likewise, he that had received 2, he also gained other 2.
Right. So the Lord, wanted you to go and flip those talents, man. So as you continue to fortify the gift that Yahweh Shem Yahushua gave unto you, all right, you are able to pretty much, gain more, gifts through the Spirit, different talents. And like I said, also that was, you gaining brothers, okay, a fruit, and for brothers that may have got started teaching by themselves by you, working on your talent and going out there and preaching the word to the best of your ability, the Lord eventually, gave you fruit, which is a byproduct of you flipping the Lord's money. Okay, go ahead.
Because if I can add too, essentially it goes back to that word for to appreciate with value. I got this a common definition for appreciate. It says to grasp the nature, worth, quality, or significance of. Which bros go into. How we shouldn't be that napkin nigga. We don't want to put the talent in a napkin. And just leave it as is. We gotta flip it. It has to appreciate. So it says to grasp the nature, worth, quality, or significance of, to value, admire highly. It says to judge with heightened perception or understanding, be fully aware of, to recognize with gratitude. And then it says to increase the value of. So it should be to where we're increasing, what we got.
Kai, that spirit, Cornwall put this on the comment board. That Shalom, Yabashim Ashab Brakatham.
Shalom, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shabbat Hashem, Chagadash Bagatah.
And this is Proverbs chapter 1 and 5. It says, a wise man will hear and will increase learning, and a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsels. And this is essentially what we just read. Okay, as a wise man, all right. As you grow in the faith, you getting built up through the elder brothers that came in before you and has been teaching. You eventually learn how to flip your talent, and then from there, you're getting the counsels on how to better keep your house, all right. And also you're being taught on how to lead, because every brother, as we continually go into, every brother that comes into this faith and come on the other side and start teaching, all right, you're being taught on how to be a leader. All right, every brother in the camp should be able to hold camp and lead a lesson, man. That's part of you learning how to be a master builder, because what you have in that chief cornerstone in your house, okay, like the scriptures say, if the Most High be with you, who can be against you? Because you have all the necessary, tools to continue to build at that house, man, to build at the Lord's temple,
Continuing on, Matthew 25:18, it says, but he that had received one went and digged in the earth and hid his Lord's money. After a long time, the Lord of those servants cometh and reckoneth with them. And so he that had received 5 talents came and bought other 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained beside them 5 talents more.
Mm-hmm.
His Lord said unto him, well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord.
Right, because what you have now, showed Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua is that you're capable of handling the Lord's responsibilities. So He's going to reward you, all right, with a bigger portion than what was given to you originally, man. And that's why I said brothers are going to have set jobs that we're gonna be over when we get the kingdom of heaven, man. Brothers are gonna have provinces. You're gonna have sections of the universe that's gonna be under your complete command. Okay, go ahead.
He also that had received 2 talents came and said, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents beside them. His Lord said unto him, well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord.
Yeah, this brother coming with him. I'm gonna add to that. This is Proverbs 18 and 16. It says, a man's gift maketh room for him and bringeth him before great men. So yeah, just adding to the spirit, man. It says a man's gift maketh room for him, because as you continue to fortify that gift, it opens you up to bigger rooms, for lack of better words, to where you are now being blessed with more abundance, man. Okay, because like we read in the commentary, that if you were given 1 talent, 1 responsibility, that may seem like it's a little to some, but as you grow and master that one, then the Lord opens you up to be able to go into different avenues using that talent, man. Okay, and then like I said, it will eventually, when the Lord looks at that, all right, you're going to be looked at and commended for that, man. Because you were able to flip what it was that you had. You got it.
Verse 24. Then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew thee that thou art an hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, and gathering where thou hast not strawed.
Mm-hmm.
And I was afraid, and went and hid thy talent in the earth. Lo, there thou hast that is thine.
Yeah, so this is what you were speaking about earlier, that napkin nigga, man. All right. That had the talent and didn't fortify that talent. And these are guys that come into the truth and they don't grow. All right. Jake stays on that one level forever. Okay. And you gotta look at this thing because this truth, another word for this truth is the Lord's husbandry. All right. And when you get into, dealing with, planting and all that, when you plant a seed, all right, that seed doesn't stay, all right, a seed forever. It eventually will blossom into whatever, plant that is made to be. But if you're not watering it and you're not, taking, care of it, that seed eventually will wither away, and that's what happens with a lot of guys that come into this thing because they didn't nurture that gift, all right? A lot of niggas just, come in thinking this truth is just about, cussing the black woman out, all right, calling Esau the devil, and then getting with brothers eating chicken and drinking wine and all that shit. And it's deeper than that, man. This truth, it unlocks a fashion of this world that you never thought about before, man, because this truth, it truly makes you alive. And when you see the whole thing about what the Lord is showing us with this knowledge is, look, we are people that are meant to create, all right, from the jump, all right, since, you read in Genesis, the first chapter, all right, creation is the byproduct of what we're put here to do, man, all right, from physically producing, which is bringing forth offspring, all right, to, whatever, your spirit fancy, if you're supposed to bring forth in abundance, man, but this world, it doesn't teach you that, okay, this world teaches you to consume, and overconsumption leads to destruction, man. Okay, and that's the problem with the majority of our people. All right, especially when it comes to the truth, because Jake could just come in here and just be stagnant. No, man, hey, this truth forces you to grow, and this is what Elder Ariala was speaking about at a latter part of that clip. All right, you having a austere teacher that's going to push you to be greater than what you see yourself as, man. All right, which is why you see Apostle Har pushing you to do more lessons, man, to study more, to get into whatever it is that you need to do to make sure that your videos are still going out, man. So all this, in a nutshell, is making it to where you have to stay working, man. Because they have that saying in the world, idle hands. Well, it says an idle mind make it, idle hands. That has a word it. It's like idle hands do the devil's work or something like that. I forget exactly how it's worded, but pretty much, if you're not working, you're not building, and when you're not building, that eventually will get to the point to where that your work will begin to suffer. Like you was going into earlier, which I got this real quick. If I can add Luke 14:28, it says, "For which of you intending to build a tower sitteth not down first and count the cost, whether he has sufficient to build it to finish it." And that's the thing that we all come to understand when this thing, like, look, it's a constant constant battle to continue to fight to build, man. Because we are constantly being attacked by Satan. The world is constantly pulling at you, but at the end of the day, we want the kingdom of heaven. Okay, so we must put all the stuff that's going to distract you from being able to build, all right, to the back and focus on the task at hand, man. Like Yahushua told his mother and father when they were looking for him, look, I'm here to do the Father's will, man. I'm about my Father's business, and that's the same mentality we're supposed to have, man. You got it out.
Kai, you want to go back to that Matthew?
Yeah, we'll finish out with verse. Go down to 30.
Kai, this is Matthew chapter 25 and verse 27. And it says, "Thou oughtest therefore to have put my money to the exchangers, and then at my coming I should have received mine own with usury.
Yeah, because hey, yeah, Howard Shot wanted you to flip that talent, man. All right, hey, and I hate to use it in this type of terminology, but make it understandable for Jake. You gotta look at it like, hey, when in Friday with Big Worm when he came to Smokey, it was like where his money was. That Smokey, didn't have his money, and that's why he wanted to end up shooting Smokey at the end of the movie, well, in the middle of the movie, man, because he was supposed to flip that and bring him back what was his, you know. Jake will do that. Jake could try to get over on the Most High, man. Go ahead.
Verse 28. Take therefore the talent from him, and give it unto him which hath 10 talents.
Right. So if you're not willing to work and do what needs to be done, the Lord's gonna fire you and give your work unto another brother that's showing that he's capable of taking on your job, man.
For unto everyone that hath shall be given, and he shall have abundance.
Mm-hmm.
But from him that hath not shall be taken away even that which he hath.
Continue on.
And cast ye the unprofitable servant into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Let me read that again.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 30 says, and cast ye the unprofitable servant into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth.
Right. So this truth is essentially you use it or you lose it. Okay. And as you use it, as we read earlier, you begin to grow with it. Okay, because you can't be, like you said, that napkin nigga that's just content with that one thing. Okay, and you got a lot of Israelites that come in this truth and stay on that entry level. Nah, you got to go forward with it, man. Because it's more than just knowing you're an Israelite. It's more than knowing. Excuse me. All right, the basics. There's nothing wrong with the milk, but at a point, hey, the brothers are supposed to grow. Okay, here that's what I was looking for. The water, bro. The saying idle hands are the devil's workshop means that people who are not kept busy with something productive are more than likely to get into trouble or mischief. And that's what happens. When guys aren't, applying themselves in the scriptures, that gives Satan license to pretty much, get in there, and that's what causes brothers to eventually, fall off, man. Okay? Brothers
I got that.
Trapped in whatever, sin, vice, or whatnot. And brothers, end up getting consumed by that. You got it out.
I got that precept. This is Bon Sirach 33 and 27. It says, send him to labor that he be not idle, for idleness teacheth much evil.
You got it.
Kind of pretty much like you were saying, those that are idle, essentially, their mind starts to muse on, things that are not profitable to the spirit. They're not being profitable to ultimately being built up, because if you're not building, essentially that essentially would be negative. That would be bad. That would be a bad thing. We were putting this truth to grow.
Trying to add to you, this is Sirach chapter 38 and 24. It says, the wisdom of a learned man cometh by the opportunity of leisure, and he that have little business shall become wise. So, hey, what we're supposed to be doing, even in our downtime, is finding new ways to utilize that talent. Okay, because like you said, when you're not, pursuing to, utilize that wisdom that you've been given, that gives Satan license to come in and distract you with worldly things, which could be detrimental for your growth, man. And you got to stay. What they say? Stay, something about staying in motion. It's a saying I was trying to think of, but either way, you got to keep yourself busy, man.
Because even when you look at like in a physical sense, like if you was just to sleep in a bed, all day, like your bones start to get weak, you lose weight,
you get bed sores.
Yeah, you get the bed sores, you start to stink, and it get spirits inside the room, so it has to stay in motion. When we look at the word for life, chaya, essentially it's something that's moving. It's continuously moving, the cha, and then the divided, the cha is a division, the ya goes into work. And so life is divided from death, because the ya in it is constantly working, it's constantly moving. That's how we know something is alive, because it's moving. When we look at nature, You know, even the trees, you know, they sway with the wind. Essentially, they grow, they do their purpose, you see. But if it's something that's dead, it's not being productive. It has no use.
Yeah, you got like what they call kinetic energy.
Hmm.
And I forgot the opposite of kinetic, but I'm gonna get that definition real quick. Kinetic energy is the energy of an object possesses due to its motion. It says it is a property of moving objects and particles and depends on both their mass and speed. Kinetic energy increases as either mass or speed increases. The formula, but that's the point, you know, for lack of better words. Hey, we're supposed to be, that kinetic energy in the spirit, constantly in motion. The livers are living water, rivers are living water, man. You know, because if you're constantly, in your studies, you're constantly watching videos, you're getting edified, which is edified means to build up. Okay, that's going to eventually add to whatever it is that you have, in your arsenal already to make it to where you can continue to do these lessons, man. All right, and through the experience as you grow, the years that we are continually in this faith, hey, that's how you become a master builder because now you have the experience to add to the works. Which when you have newer brothers that come in, all right, you becoming that master builder. You're showing them how to build now, man. You know, that's why I said you can't stay on the same level forever, man. You know, grab this real quick. Um, this is Second Timothy chapter 2 and verse 24. It says, the servant of the Lord must not strive, but be gentle unto all men, apt to teach, patient in meekness, instructing those that oppose themselves, if the Most High peradventure will give them repentance to the accepting to acknowledging of the truth, and that they may recover themselves out of the snare of the devil, who are taken captive by him at his will. So, hey, the teachings that we are, receiving from the apostles and elders, and elder brothers, and even different brothers, because all brothers, no matter how long you've been in the truth, man, and you add to the building of the temple through your lessons, man. So if you got the basic milk lessons all the way to the meteor lessons, those are all beneficial for the body, man. You know, so at the end of the day, we have to continually be honing our sword to be able to teach those that need the understanding, man. All right, the brothers and sisters that's out here, hungry for the Lord's word. This is what we're here to be doing, man.
I got another one. This is let me see. This is Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 24. It says, "And that ye put on the new man, which is after the Most High, is created in righteousness and true holiness." And essentially, by uh um um essentially by us staying in motion and continually building, it becomes a part of us. It becomes we become that new creature. If we was to stop, building, then essentially that, like you said, that's how one would go back into those old ways. Essentially by staying in motion, it becomes a part of us.
Yeah, because like I said in verse 26, it says, and that they may recover themselves. That's like I'm reading the NLT. It says, then they will come to their senses and escape from the devil's trap, for they have been held captive by him to do whatever he wants. So you have to constantly be building that spiritual man up, all right? Which goes back to, like I said, you building the inward man so that the outward man, by default is fortified, man. And then you're able to go outside of yourself to start building your kingdom, because every brother you're building your kingdom, all right, whether it be through your family and then to your business and then whatever else, which we know right now those things are temporary, but those are examples of what eventually we're going to be able to govern in the kingdom of heaven on a whole other level, man. But like you said, if you're not doing that now, okay, eventually Satan will get in there and he'll distract you and eventually pull you back out the truth, man. But you got anything else?
Trying to see. Yeah, that should be it. That's pretty much all I had.
Con, so yeah,
Oh no, hold on, I got one more. My
you
bad.
got it. Go ahead.
Con, this is Matthew chapter 7, and I'm gonna give verse 24. And the subtitle says the two foundations. It says, therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man, which it said doeth. You know, we don't want to be one of those in James, the first chapter, that just hear it and don't do it. You know, we got to continually do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it says, I will liken him unto a wise man, which built his house upon a rock, in which that rock is Yahweh Shai. And essentially, you know, him being the foundation, the basis, the principle, you know, the tenet, essentially that the rest of the house is built upon. You know, essentially we model ourselves after Yahweh Shai, you know, because he's the trailblazer. So it says, and the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. You know, essentially, those houses, the elect, is essentially going to be founded upon that true foundation. You know, fear the Lord and sincerity and in truth. You know, verse 26. I'm going down to verse 28. It says, "And everyone that heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them not shall be likened unto a foolish man which built his house upon the sand." And because we got the blueprint, you know, Psalms 119:9, it says, wherewithal, the question was right there. It said, wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his way? By taking heed thereto, according to thy word. So that's what we're supposed to do. You know, we were supposed to put on as Yahweh Shai Hamashayach, you know, which the elect ultimately is going to do that. All right. And it says, and everyone that heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them not shall be likened unto a foolish man, which built his house upon the sand, and the rains descended and the floods came, which ultimately the rains, the floods, and the winds, ultimately that goes into the different adversities that's going to come upon the planet Earth, you know, which the elect is going to be protected. All right. And then 2/3, all right, which is going to comprise of, you know, those that essentially isn't in the circumcision, but you see, but then also those that are, you know, the false prophets. So it says, and the rain.
Yeah, because I can add to that, because this is why I said earlier, the Lord is going to force you to build, because you got, you know, some Jake that'll get to where it's like that barrier to where you may feel like you can't, you know, work no more. You know, you tired. You know, that's that one precept where it said the sluggard said they can't work because there's a lion in the way or whatever. Paraphrasing.
Yep.
But the austerity that we know that Yahweh Shai possesses, it makes you push past that to where if you continue to fortify that foundation, it's going to be in the end that storm's not going to be able to wash away that house, man. That's why, you know, certain adversities come upon you. Hey, if your foundation is fortified, you're able to overcome it. But if not, then that shows you that your foundation was built upon that sand.
Mm-hmm. Continuing on, it says, and the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. You know, so ultimately, you know, we have to. You said what?
I was agreeing with you. Go ahead.
Okay. Ultimately, you know, we have to ensure that we, again, like the opening preset that we got, we're building in the correct fashion, rightly dividing the word of truth, and doing the things that we need to do ultimately to be covered. You know, because there's going to be individuals that don't ultimately have that true foundation, which is Yahweh Shai. You know, that they're not coming in the correct spirit. You know, they're selling Passover tickets and doing whatever else it is that, you know, that's not the correct things to do. You know.
Yeah, they're building to the flesh and not to the spirit. When you're building to the spirit, you're building to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah. Okay, but if you're building to the flesh, you're building to this world, which as you just read and we always going to, this world is going to pass away. Because when that hell comes down, if your foundation is based upon this world, it's going to pass away with the fashion of this world. But if you building to the foundation of Yahweh Shah, all right, it's going to withstand forever, because your foundation is going to eventually lead to the kingdom of heaven. Okay, and that's why it says in Matthew the 6th chapter, "Seek ye the kingdom of heaven, and everything shall be added unto you." You know, so what we're looking to do is to build to the future. You know, like you got Jake in this world, they're building for the future, but it's not the right future, man. All right, we see the byproducts of what we're building towards, man, and that's why we're stacking up them spiritual treasures in heaven, man. You know.
I want to add to your point, because you had mentioned that essentially by having Yahweh Shai as the that foundation, you know, Yahweh Shai is forever. I want to get this though. It says, or ultimately abiding in Yahweh Shai, you know, essentially would be everlasting life, which is forever.
Right.
But it says bond, you know, the word for son, which is related to the word for building. And it says the old panel is removed, being recycled into a wall, being recycled into a wall or floor, and the new strip is added to the tent. Since the tent is only replaced one small piece at a time, the tent essentially lasts forever. You know, so essentially by abiding in Yahweh Shai, essentially, you know, the elect's going to abide forever.
All right. Now that's the point. Because if we are of the elect, that means we're the first fruits, which means we are the original master builders, man. We're just coming back in our lots. Lord willing. All right. You got anything else?
Blah.
All right. So with that, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. So we're gonna close it out. We want to give our honor, praise, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachahakwadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And peace and salutation to the elect. Until next time, we say Shalom.
Shalom.